Hey, I'm Greg McIntyre with McIntyre Elder Law, and
I'm Brendan Begley.
we're going to talk some litigation today. This is part 2 in our litigation series
That's right.
on quiet title actions. Shh, quiet. What's a quiet title action? That's cheesy, but it's a good way to remember it. What is a quiet title action?
Yeah, so, if there's an issue with title to property, okay, so the action is to quiet the title. So
when we say property, are we talking about my watch or my car?
Talking about real property.
Real estate. Your
dirt
house.
And the things on the dirt. That's right.
The things affixed to the dirt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Sorry to interrupt. Please.
No, you're fine. But, there could be issue with title to the property, what's typically referred to as the deed. The deed's not necessarily the title, it just shows you what the title, okay, to the property is, right? So the deed is a record of title, but there could be issues with title to property. For example, someone could claim an interest in the property that you own. And if you want to sell that property, do something with that property, well, there's a cloud on title if they're making that claim. So you need to get that issue quieted. Okay, so that's a quiet title action. And, there's many reasons why there may be some type of issue as to the title to property. There's reasons why there may be a cloud on title.
What is a common issue?
Common issue?
What is a common issue where I might need to seek a court action, a quiet title action, or bring that against someone else?
Yeah.
To say, hey, the way the deed's set up, the way the register of deeds has this set up, the tax records, everything else,
Right.
GIS, is displaying this property is incorrect. I actually should have a property interest here.
Right.
And I'm asking the court to clarify that.
Yeah, so a lot of times we end up doing quiet title actions as a result of someone coming in to an attorney's office or acquiring a deed somehow and having an individual who owned that property sign a deed, okay? And so that's not the only reason why we do it, but most of the cases that we have that end up resulting in a quiet title action is if mom comes in to an attorney's office, signs a deed, or mom signed a deed at some point and, gave somebody the property, okay, and it was supposed to go to somebody else, then we might want to,
Could there be
fix that
so a
problem.
common issue? Could capacity be an issue
Exactly.
when the deed was signed?
So you could challenge, hey, mom didn't know what she was doing when she signed it. She was tricked into signing it. She lacked capacity to sign it. It was an example or a result of fraud or forgery, things like that. Those could all be issues as to the title to property and the reason why you want to set aside a deed and do a quiet title action. Another thing is the deed's just wrong. Could be wrong. Could give somebody, right? You could have a deed.
Maybe
that
the
gave somebody
description's
property.
wrong that gave somebody a piece of property.
That it wasn't supposed
Maybe
to.
instead of giving maybe I have 50 acres.
Uh-huh.
And I was meaning to give someone else 1 acre.
Yep.
But I give that person accidentally because the deed was drafted wrong and nobody caught it. I give them 10 acres or maybe all 50.
Right.
And the person that I gave it to is refusing to sign back over 49 of those acres back to me.
Yeah.
Which is, we've seen that happen before.
It's a real life thing.
Right?
Yeah.
So you have to sue through a quiet title action to have the court determine the intent when the 50 acres was given away and argue that it just should have been 1 acre, right?
Right. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that, you may have a loved one who puts you on the deed, right, in some capacity to receive that property upon their death, okay? So whether that's the whole thing or part of the property, and if, let's say mom does that and then someone convinces mom to sign another deed, maybe she didn't know what she was doing, okay? At that point, you have 2 people who would own that property at mom's death, okay? And there's an issue there because originally when she signed the first deed, she intended for this person to have it, right? Person number 1, and she's executed another deed which may or may not be valid, leaving it to person number 2. So that gives rise to an issue as to the title of property.
So we might question the validity of that second deed,
Correct.
mom's competency when she signed that second deed,
Correct.
things like that, right?
Right.
So all kinds of issues surrounding quiet title, some of them similar to other litigation issues that we see,
Right.
the signing of legal documents,
Yeah.
things like that.
And you talked about wills, okay? And you might think to yourself, well, why in the world isn't the will the problem here? Well, as I pointed out, if the property is being left via deed, it's the deed that controls it, not the will. So some people will falsely think that they need to challenge the will to solve that problem, when in fact the deed is the issue.
Because the will has nothing to do with it.
That's right. You need to
So
bring
it's
the
not a
quiet
will
title.
caveat action,
Yeah.
which is part one of that I did yesterday of litigation
Exactly.
series. It's actually the quiet title action is where you need to bring that.
Exactly.
Right? So it depends on the vehicle, the legal mechanism for passing the property, which is whether it's the will, a trust, the deed, as to what type of legal action or litigation action would need to be brought.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, if it's a trust, we may want to do just an action against the trust, declaratory judgment action, something
Sure.
like that.
Right.
Yeah. Or
Which we will get into.
Yeah. That's upcoming.
It is upcoming.
Yeah.
I very much appreciate you. Attorney Begley handles a lot of litigation cases in our office. He is our lead litigation attorney, our chief legal officer, and I appreciate you coming on and sharing your wisdom with us regarding quiet title actions.
Sure.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. And stay tuned for our next part in our litigation series. Thank you for watching the Elder Law Report.